Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news to report. The world's luckiest intern is leaving NBC News.
Oh, no.
Luke Russert says he's leaving the network to pursue a career in journalism. Yeah. Now, we all know Luke Russert was the son of Meet the Press moderator Tim Russert, and when Tim died, they had to give his son a job who didn't earn it at Allsy. And, I think most reporters, when they're 22 years old, they start off as NBC's fucking Capitol Hill correspondent. Isn't that how it works? That's your entry level. That's your entry level over at NBC News. Entry level congressional reporter. Anyway, so Luke's leaving. He's 30 years old now. He's leaving. It sounds like he's having a
crisis,
a mid-privilege crisis. It's okay to make fun of the wealthy. It's okay. He can hire psychiatrists and psychologists and the ladies of the night and little young boys. Whatever he wants to do, he can hire for comfort. He can go get a nutritionist. He can spend the rest of his life doing sit-ups. That's how much money he has. So Luke Russert, so what happened is he got the job because his dad died, and now he was hanging on to his job at NBC. He was just hoping his mom would die and he could get a job at Vanity Fair.
My dad died. I didn't get a job.
I know your dad didn't have a good enough job, I guess. He said that, this is according to the Hollywood Reporter, that he's leaving NBC News to take some time away from political reporting. He's doing this on the eve of the biggest political stories of the fucking decade. Trump at the Cleveland convention and Bernie and Hillary in Philadelphia, and then the election. The biggest political stories, come on, since Barack Obama. In 2008, the first black president. We're going to have the first woman. It's just so much stuff happening. And he's like, you know what? I'm kind of, because he's got that kind of fire in the belly. You just don't lose. Just goes to show you this guy never was interested in anything except being pop. He didn't know what he was supposed to do with his life. He says, oh, they gave me a job making a $250,000 a year, probably more.
Oh, yeah.
Probably way more. I mean, to start, when he was 22. When I was 22, I would drive out to Wheaton to do $50 sets. Didn't even cover the gas money from Chicago. Go out and do sets. People would stare at me. Anyway, that's how you cut your teeth in comedy. People staring at you while you're trying to entertain them. It's painful. It's like you got to take a bunch of punches in the face before you're ready to be a real comedian. And that's why I don't think Luke was ready to be a real journalist. He didn't take any of those face punches that you have to take when you have to go to Poughkeepsie and start your career. So he's 30. He's covered Capitol Hill for NBC News. He joined the network 8 years ago. Wow.
Wouldn't it be weird if he announced that he's going to be Trump's running mate?
Wouldn't it be? Oh, maybe that's why he's dropping out.
By the way, Capitol Hill guy
working on
shows up in Washington, D.C. On basically 2 years before the most important midterm election of maybe the last 40 years. Basically the Tea Party revolution happens, and he's the guy.
He's the guy. He's the guy NBC tapped.
He's the guy at the epicenter.
Get that story.
Yeah.
Go get that story.
Yeah.
23-year-old Luke. So he joined the network. This is according to the Hollywood Reporter 8 years ago, shortly after his father died of a heart attack. So he really owes his career to a lack of statins. His dad wasn't taking. He said in a note to colleagues, his colleagues. He sent a note to colleagues that his career began in an unusual way, and he never had time to reflect. Oh, boy, huh? Busy.
But now that I'm reflecting, I realize I'm a 30-year-old fraud with millions of dollars. So I'm going to go and figure out what the hell to do with these millions of dollars. That doesn't make me want to put a gun in my mouth.
He just wants to spend more time with his family that he doesn't have.
That he is yet to start.
Chuck Todd tweeted, big loss for us at MSNBC. As many on the Hill will attest, Luke Russert owned his beat and still owns it. I'd like to think he'll be back.
I'd like to think that Chuck Todd... Chuck.
By the way...
And you wonder why people don't watch the news, Chuck? Because you're the news guy and you're fucking bullshitting us right now. You're pretending like the world's luckiest intern is fucking Walter Cronkite, and we all know it's not. It was a joke, and it should have. Somebody should have got fired, but nobody ever did because there's no standards anymore at the news. We watch your show, Chuck. We know there are no standards at NBC News. We know that you're owned by a corporation that's pro TPP. Okay? And before that, you were owned by a defense contractor that was pro-Iraq war. Okay? So that's who you are. You're cashing checks from corporations who are pro-TPP. That's not a real journalist. That's a TV talker you're an entertainer on television who takes money. And that's all you are. And that's all this guy is too. And hey, at least he's leaving. He wants to go spend some time to reflect, travel, and figure out what the future should be. Isn't it nice to have that kind of money where you can go and reflect and travel and think about what your future... When you're fucking 30? When you're 30 years old. He's 30. He's got to go do some traveling. Luke Russert.